Hey everybody, what time is it, Mary? It's
11:45.
It's 11:45 already, and I have not written my blog post yet. So in lieu of the blog post, I thought that it might be a nice day to make sort of a video, I don't know, film fireside chat, and just kind of talk about what's happening right now. We've been in quarantine for how long now?
6 weeks.
6
7
weeks. And I thought that this would be such a great time to catch up in projects, and it kind of is. You know, I mean, I've had a good amount of time to kind of touch a lot of things. I'm working on, right now I'm working on cleanup on Popeye Meets Sinbad, which is a really nice 2K scan from the Library of Congress of an old 35 IBTech print. What's really neat about it is that the color content is different than I've seen on the film before. The only prints that were really around of the film were Eastman before this. And I know I'm not going to be able to get this perfect for this. This is for the little Popeye set we're doing. I know I'm not going to get it perfect, but it sure is cool looking. The way it works is it takes reference from the frame before and after any given thing. But because it's animation, when it's taking reference from the frame before or after, sometimes it screws up and doesn't know that the lines around the characters are actually lines. That's a pretty good example there. Look, we've erased poor Olive's hands. What's kind of cool about the program, though, is it is editable, and so you can set it to actually put things back that it's missing. So this is kind of what we do, like when we're doing one of these, is we try to find the best settings possible, and then go through and make sure that it doesn't can things in every frame, which here it's really canning stuff. So fortunately it doesn't destroy the image as you're going, but you still have to go through and try to figure out what's missing, which is an incredible burden. This isn't the main thing I wanted to show today, though, actually. The main thing I wanted to show, that's so cool. If you want to make a film collector happy, if you want to really make them happy, buy them a reel of leader. Because for whatever reason, all of us forget to always buy leader.
Why would you need more leader?
Leader on old film always gets beat up. I mean, these are, for the most part, when you're collecting films, you collect a lot of old prints. And over the years, things have happened to those prints. And so the leader at the head and tail is there not only to thread the projector, but it's there to kind of take some of the abuse that happens from threading the projector and at the beginning of the film. And actually, this might be a good example, yeah. This here is a print that actually came via a good friend of mine. It's a print of a little Lulu loose in the caboose. This is an old nitrate Technicolor print. I think from Denmark is where this print is from. But it appears to just be an English language print. So chances are it was printed in the States and ended up out there, but it could have been printed in Britain as well. But here, this is kind of a good example of what happens at the beginning of a print. This old Technicolor print it's missing the Paramount title and everything. It just kind of starts on the credits. So it's kind of a shame, because I was really hoping that this one would actually have its full titles on it. I haven't looked at these prints at all, but it's kind of in terrific shape. That one looks like it's in pretty good shape. Another thing that a film collector should always have around is a spare projection lens, because then it's really easy to like look through here and look close up at the film and see kind of what its condition is, you know, or at least see what you got, because sometimes you get reels without a leader on them. Here's a print of Bargain Counterattack, which is another little Lulu cartoon, and I think this might be Tails Up. This is a core here. A core is basically a way to store film rather than an actual reel. This is actually called a shipping reel, but some people call them, it's a 1,000-foot reel, but when you buy cartoons in 35 millimeter, a lot of the time it's either going to be on a core or it's going to be on a reel like this. When these were shipped to theaters, they were always shipped on reels like this. In fact, features used to be shipped on reels like that. Eventually they went to a larger size, a 2,000-foot size. Bargain Counterattack. It's always fun to like pick up a new print because you have no idea where it's been or where the splices are or anything. Damn it. I hate it when stuff isn't complete. Let's see what we got here. Oh, look at that. It just kind of cuts off at the end. So I'm missing footage on this one, but this looks like the end of the film. Yeah, that looks like the end of the film. So the bargain counterattack is not complete, which is a bummer. But we'll see. We'll still scan it, you know. It'll still be cool to see. Here's a print, sadly, that's suffering from vinegar syndrome. It says Lucky Dog Scope Cartoon. This is from our good friend Jerry Beck. And if I'm remembering correctly, this one was awful. Oh. This is it has vinegar syndrome, so it just stinks. What's happening is the film is actually degassing. So it's kind of falling apart. It actually looks projectable at this point. Oh, God, that smells. Sure enough, it looks like it's in scope.
Oscar likes it. Don't you?
Kitty likes it.
It stinks good.
Ugh. Yeah. Okay, Jerry, we will have this scanned soon, and then we will throw it in the garbage, sadly. Because, man, this is enough to stink up the house for the night, this one print. This is Northwest Haunted Police, which is a great cartoon, which I'm about to not own. So I'm giving this cartoon to a good friend who deserves to have this print. I haven't looked at it. So this is on safety stock because there's no nitrate marking on it. And so this would be a reissue of this cartoon. And gosh, it's in great shape. Complete end title. It's a Technicolor print. Technicolor is cool because it's printed on black and white film stock. And yep, that is Northwest Haunted Police, sure enough. Sure enough. Cool. Looks like it's in really beautiful shape. Here is another example of severe vinegar syndrome, sadly. That's what happens eventually to them. They kind of start to get crystallized and fall apart. God, this one stinks too. This one really stinks. Oh. And you know what's really sad about this is that this is a Marty the Monk cartoon. And I got it this way, like it was already vinegared and I just didn't have the heart to throw it out. You know, I think that I may have soaked it and it seems to have sucked up all of the film cleaner and didn't make it any more projectable than it was, ever. Here's an example of when a print turns red. Like this is an Eastman color print of, I don't know what this is. Is this a little Lulu? It might be. So this is a little piece of The Greatest Man in Siam, which is a really odd Technicolor print because there's sprockets that are black on one side of it. So, and it's just a little piece of the film. You know, a little reel like that is maybe, you know, something under a minute of film, but it's a good scene. Like it's the scene of the girl dancing, which is pretty cool. I was out in with the Columbus Film Show, and somebody just handed this to me and said, "Hey, do you want this?" And I said, "Yes." This here I have to finish. I've been working on it, but I have to finish taking magic marker off of it. It was a film that it belongs to a friend of mine, but he got it from a grade school teacher who didn't realize that it was pretty much a lost film, and she let her class put magic marker all over the print. So I've been going through little by little. This is kind of a good project to do during the quarantine. I've been going through little by little and removing the magic marker for him. This should just be called Steve's Vinegar Show tonight. This was a George Washington in clay film that belongs to Chris Buckman, but it's really fallen apart. And we were able to get a scan on it, although sometimes when films become vinegary, they start to bubble. And the reason that they bubble is that the picture starts to separate from the acetate base. And that's what's happening here. It's just dying. And it's sad because I don't know if there's another print of this around. We did a 2K scan on it, and Well, the best you can do, you just have to let it go. And one of the kind of cool things about collecting is that sometimes you find something that's only a 9.5 millimeter. This is a 9.5 millimeter print of a Felix. Felix the cat cartoon. So Felix the cat has made me eat a lot of spaghetti and made me improperly dressed for certain occasions. But if you look at 9.5 millimeter film, it's kind of cool because the sprockets are between the image. So interestingly, a 9.5 millimeter print, the image is just a little bit smaller than a 16 millimeter image. So if you have a good 9.5 millimeter and you can get a good scan of it, sometimes it can look as good as a 16, you know, or pretty darn close. This is a 28 millimeter piece of film, and this one's kind of cool because if you look, there's actually 4 sprockets on one side per frame and 1 sprocket on the other side per frame. So one of the coolest things about just doing these sets is that you get access to so much cool material. And when you do a scan of one of these, we'll do the full frame including the soundtrack so that we can get as much of the picture scanned as possible. And you know, we'll do kind of an overscan of it. This is a print of a Popeye cartoon called Taxi Turvy, old 50s Technicolor print. A lot of the time we'll scan them by actually getting the film wet with film cleaner to sort of do a faux wet gate. Most of the time when you scan, it's hard to get a wet gate done these days. Anyway, that's it for the night. Thanks, and I promise that I will write something this next time. And I'll probably also be improperly dressed. Have a good day, everyone.